Have you noticed this too? Scroll through TikTok or Instagram, even for a few minutes, and you will see videos like this. Find signs you have anxiety. If you do this, you might have ADHD, OCD, things that we only understand, trauma responses that you didn't know you had. And the signs they list: forgetting your keys sometimes, feeling nervous before a big presentation, or liking things to be organized, or having a bad day. Millions of people watch these videos, and millions think, wait, that's me. I do that. Maybe I have that thing too. And I get it because I have been there. There is something comforting about having a name for what you're feeling. It makes you feel seen. It makes you feel less alone. But here is the thing. I started wondering, are we actually experiencing more mental health conditions than ever before? Or are we just using bigger words for smaller feelings? And today I want to talk about the rise of self-diagnosing from social media. Why we do it, why it's a problem, and what we can do instead. And I want to be really clear before I start. I'm not dismissing real mental illness. Depression is real. Anxiety disorders are real. ADHD, OCD, bipolar. These are serious conditions that affect millions of people. They deserve proper diagnosis, proper treatment, and proper care. But there is a difference between having a condition and having a bad day. And somewhere along the way, the line has gotten blurry. What's actually happening? On social media, mental health content is everywhere. Videos with hashtag mental health have billions of views. And most of this content is created by regular people, not doctors, not therapists, and not researchers. They are just regular people sharing their personal experiences. And that's not automatically bad. Personal stories matter. They help people feel less alone. But the problem is that these videos often present personal experiences as universal truths. A creator might say, if you forget things, you probably have ADHD. But forgetting things could also mean you're tired, you're busy, you're human, or you're thinking about 100 other things. A creator might say, if you feel anxious in social situations, you might have social anxiety. But feeling nervous before meeting new people is completely normal. It's only a disorder when it stops you from living your life. And the format of social media makes this worse. You only have 60 seconds or 90 seconds to get your point across. Complex conditions get boiled down to simple checklists. And these checklists, they are designed to be relatable because relatable content gets views. So you end up with videos that list symptoms like this. You overthink things. You get tired after socializing. You have mood swings. You're sensitive to criticism. And here's the thing, who doesn't relate to some of these? Who hasn't overthought something? Who hasn't felt drained after a long day with people? Who hasn't had their mood shift? But relating to a symptom doesn't mean you have the disorder. That's not how diagnosis works. In the amazing book, Lost Connection, the author said, we have been taught to think of our sadness as a problem inside our own brains, a kind of chemical accident, but what if it's not? What if sometimes you're just tired, or lonely, or stressed, or having a hard time? These are real feelings too. They just don't need a clinical label. Why we do this? So why are we so quick to adopt these labels? I think there are several reasons, and they are actually pretty understandable. It gives us language for what we are feeling. When you are overwhelmed and you don't know why, having a word for it feels validating. Anxiety sounds more serious than worried. Depression sounds more real than sad. Trauma sounds more significant than that was hard. And sometimes we don't feel like we have permission to struggle unless we have a diagnosis. A bad day feels trivial, but a bad day with my anxiety feels legitimate. Social media rewards it. The algorithm loves emotional content. Videos about mental health get millions of views. They get comments, they get shares. So creators keep making them. And they keep making them more and more relatable. Before you know it, signs of anxiety includes things like you care about what people think, which is just being human. One of the reasons is we want to feel seen. When you're struggling and you see someone on the internet describe what you feel, it's comforting. You think, finally, someone understands me. Finally, I'm not alone. And that feeling is real and valid. But the problem is believing that the only way to be seen is through a diagnosis. Having a label connects you to others with the same label. You find your people. There are entire communities built for ADHD, depression, anxiety. And for people who actually have these conditions, these communities can be life-saving. But for everyone, it can lead us to identify with something that's not really ours. Dr. Alan Francis, who helped write the Diagnostic Manual for Mental Health, he wrote a book called Saving Normal. In it, he says, "We are all so different. And the human condition is so varied that many of us will at times seem to fit some psychiatric diagnosis. That doesn't mean we all have one." The problem with this, here is where it gets complicated. Because this is not harmless, it actually creates real problems. Let me walk you through them. Problem 1, it trivializes real struggles. When everyone says you're anxious because of a job interview, what do we call it when someone cannot leave their house for weeks? When every sad day is depression, we lose the language for the kind of depression that makes you unable to get out of bed. There is a concept called concept creep. It's when diagnostic terms expand over time to include milder and milder cases. And when that happens, the original meaning gets diluted. Think about the word trauma. It refers to serious, life-threatening events, but now people use it to describe uncomfortable conversations. Both are real, both are hard, but they are not the same. And when we use the same word to describe both, we lose the ability to distinguish. We convince ourselves we're broken. If you believe you have a disorder, you start seeing everything through that lens. A bad mood is not just a bad mood, it's my depression. Forgetfulness is not just being tired, it's my ADHD. Disliking loud noises is not just a preference, it's my sensory issues. You stop giving yourself permission to just be human. You start pathologizing every quirk, every mood, every reaction. And that's really exhausting. It's exhausting to feel like something is wrong with you all the time. The therapist and author Laurie Gottlieb writes in Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. We can't change without loss, which is why it's so important to name our feelings. Not diagnose them, just name them. There is a difference between naming and diagnosing. We look for labels instead of solutions. Instead of asking, what can I do to feel better? We ask, what is wrong with me? Instead of rest, we want a diagnosis. Instead of a walk, we want a prescription. Instead of talking to a friend, we want a label. Sometimes the solution is simpler than we think. Maybe you need more sleep. Maybe you need to move your body. Maybe you need to talk to someone. Maybe you need to break up from your phone, from social media. Maybe you need to eat something. But if you believe you have a disorder, these simple solutions feel inadequate. They feel like they couldn't be possibly enough for something so serious, so you don't try them. Real diagnoses get drowned out. When everyone claims anxiety, people with actual anxiety disorders struggle to be taken seriously. A friend of mine has actual OCD, not the kind where you like things tidy, the kind where you have to check the door 20 times before you can leave the house, the kind that takes hours of your day, the kind that makes you late for everything. She told me once, when people say they are OCD because they like their pens to be organized, I want to scream. They have no idea what this is like. That's the cost of this trend. Real people with real struggles get erased. It prevents us from building resilience. Jonathan Haidt talks about this in The Coddling of the American Mind. He says, we have adopted a culture of safetyism, where we try to protect people from anything that might upset them. But the unintended consequence is that people never learn to cope with normal discomfort. If every nervous feeling is anxiety, you never learn to sit with nervousness and let it pass. If every sad day is depression, you never learn that sadness is temporary. If every disagreement is trauma, you never learn how to navigate conflicts. Not every uncomfortable feeling needs to be fixed. Some feelings just need to be felt. And when we label everything as a disorder, we rob ourselves of the chance to build that muscle. I made this video because I care about this topic. I have seen friends adopt labels that didn't fit them. and I got myself doing it too. And I think we can do better for ourselves and for people who genuinely need care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. See you in the next time.